we're all good. Well, hi everyone, and welcome to our VidaLive for the month of November. We are so glad that you have joined us, and we are so excited today to just get to hear from Ruth and Walter, who are joining us from Guatemala. Both of them are on staff with Impact. Walter works with the construction team, and he'll be sharing a bit of what's going on down there and some of the stuff that they're working on. Ruth is also on our staff, and she'll be doing some of the translating. So we are so glad to be joined by them, and we are so glad that you have joined us. So Ruth and Walter, I'm really just going to pass it on to you guys. I'm going to ask a few questions, and then for all of those who are here, if you have any questions during this event, feel free to write them in the chat, and at the end, we'll be able to just read those questions, continue the conversation, and get to hear about all that's going on in Guatemala. So Ruth and Walter, I know I just said your names, but why don't you introduce yourself and tell a little bit about your role with Impact Ministries, and Walter, how you got involved with the construction team.
Buenas tardes a todos.
Good afternoon to everybody.
Pues, como dijiste, yo me llamo Walter Dubon.
Like you said, my name is Walter Dubon.
Y tengo muchos años de estar trabajando para Ministerios Impacto.
I've been working for Impact Ministries for many years.
Comencé a trabajar aún antes que comenzara Ministerios Impacto aquí en Guatemala.
I was already working here on the site before Impact Ministries Guatemala came here.
En este lugar en donde estamos transmitiendo, había un pequeño colegio.
This place where we're transmitting from, there was a small school.
Y a este colegio llegó hermano Les y hermana Rita con un grupo.
Brother Les Rita came with a group to this tiny school.
Y así fue como yo me involucré con Ministerios Impacto.
And that's how I got involved with Impact Ministries.
Entonces ya tengo muchos años de estar acá.
I've been here for a lot of years.
Awesome. And just for everyone listening too, you may hear some noise in the back. That is because they are at one of our schools, and there's some construction going on behind them. So that may be some of that background noise that you're hearing. So in speaking of that, there is a lot of construction happening this year. Can you give us a bit of an overview of what your team is working on? And I know you have kind of lots of people who are on the team. If you have kind of various groups out at different projects, can you tell us a little bit about those?
Tal vez pueden enfocar a los trabajadores ahora.
So he just asked them to focus in on the workers over there.
Aquí estamos trabajando en Chamché.
This is Chamché.
Estamos haciendo un edificio para el comedor y la cocina.
We're making a building for the dining hall and kitchen.
Y este es el que estamos ocupados ahora.
That's what we're busy with right at the moment.
Pero también estamos trabajando en Chisac.
We're also working in Chisac.
Ahí estamos construyendo las oficinas del orfanatorio.
On the office building for the baby home or the children's home.
Y una casa para los niños que son más grandes que un bebé.
And also a house for children that are bigger than a baby.
En el orfanatorio solo tenemos espacios para bebés.
In the children's home right now, we only have space for babies.
Los cuartos que habíamos construido solo son para cunas.
Were just made for rooms with cribs.
Entonces ahora estamos haciendo una casa con dormitorios para poner camas para niños mayores.
So we're making a house right now with rooms that are big enough for beds that are for children.
Eso es lo que estamos trabajando en estos momentos.
That's what we're working on in these moments.
And it's truly amazing just to see how quickly some of these buildings are made, and how hard this team is working. I know we were there just a few months ago, and there was an old building right behind them, and they've torn that down and have already started. So it's truly amazing to see just all the work that's done. So last year, we were raising money for classrooms for 3 of our schools and some chapel buildings and computer labs. Can you give us a bit of an update just on what has happened this past year? I know kind of you just said what was going on now, but what has happened this past year?
Las aulas para Chicurjá están terminadas.
The classrooms in Chihulha are done.
Solo nos hace falta pintarlas
We just need to paint them.
y van a estar listas para el próximo ciclo escolar que comienza en enero.
Going to be ready for our next school year that starts in January.
El salón para los devocionales en Chicurjá
The devotion hall in Chihulha
está terminado.
is also finished.
Y estábamos construyendo un salón para devocionales en Vida Nueva
We were also building a hall for the devotionals in Vida Nueva,
y está terminado.
and that's also finished.
Y el salón para computación en Vida Nueva también está
And the
terminado.
computer lab in Vida Nueva is also finished.
En la carpintería estamos terminando
In,
los escritorios
in the carpentry shop, we're finishing to make desks
para que sean utilizados el próximo ciclo escolar.
for the next school year.
También estamos listando los escritorios para el laboratorio de computación en Chicurjá.
We're also making desks for the school, the computer lab in Chihulha.
Esos proyectos para los que estaban pidiendo dinero los hemos terminado
For those who were giving the money, we finished those,
y primero Dios el próximo ciclo escolar van a estar ya en uso.
and hopefully the next school year in January, they're all going to be used.
Definitely sounds like it has been a busy year down there with lots of construction. How many people are on your team?
Como 30 entre albañiles,
We've
ayudantes,
got about 30 between the guys that are in charge and the ones that aren't in charge,
electricistas,
electricians,
ayudantes de
the other guy that helps the
electricistas,
electrician, carpentry.
sí, carpinteros, y
Yeah.
tenemos aproximadamente unas 30 personas, pero
We've got about 30 people.
cuando tenemos más carga de trabajo y algo urge,
When something's more urgent or when we've had more work all at the same time,
entonces tenemos que contratar más.
we have to hire more people.
Sí.
So do you guys get to see how these buildings get used for God's purpose after they've been built? You get to go back and see the classes being used in the chapel.
Pues este año, al estar ya listo el salón en Chicurjá,
This year, since the devotion hall in Chihulha was ready,
nomás lo terminamos,
we were just finishing it.
la iglesia comenzó a tener una célula.
The church started to have a cell group there.
Entonces ahora tenemos un grupo para reunirse por la iglesia en ese salón.
So there's already a group from the church that's using that devotion hall.
Y los días domingos
And on Sundays,
tenemos ya personas de Chicurjá
we have people from Chihulha
asistiendo a la
who are
iglesia.
coming to the church in Chihulha.
Chicurjá,
Pero van a Chihulha.
¿no?
They come all the way to here to Chamche, to the church here in town already, even though because there's only a cell group functioning there in Chihulha.
Y lo mismo pasa para el orfanatorio.
The same thing happens with the children's home.
En este momento no podemos tener niños mayores porque solo hay lugar para pequeños, para
Right.
bebés.
At this moment, we can't have older children because there's only room for little ones.
Solo hay espacio para
There's
cunas,
just space for cribs.
pero cuando ya tengamos lista la casa, vamos a poder recibir niños mayores y ser de bendición para ellos.
But we know that as soon as the building is done, we're going to be able to receive older children and we'll be able to see that.
En Guatemala tenemos limitado espacio en la educación Y las escuelas públicas tienen problemas para recibir niños.
In Guatemala, we have limited space for education, and so,
Aún las escuelas públicas no tienen espacio para
public
niños.
schools don't have space for the children right now.
En las noticias vimos que los padres de familia
We
van
saw in the
a,
news that there's parents of kids,
van a dormir la noche
they're sleeping the night
esperando tener un
waiting in
espacio
line
en la
to
escuela,
get a chance to have their kid in the school.
y nuestras clases,
And our
muchas de nuestras
classrooms
clases están completamente llenas.
are also completely full, a lot of them.
Y entonces, al construir una nueva clase,
So when we build a new classroom,
tenemos la oportunidad de
we
bendecir
have the opportunity to bless
a otras familias.
other families.
Entonces,
So
la construcción es una bendición,
the building is a blessing,
de manera que tenemos ahora más espacio
because now we have more space
para bendecir a otras
to
familias.
bless more families.
That's amazing. It's amazing to have that perspective on what you guys are doing and that how that can bless families and allow for more students to come into the schools. So is there a construction project that right now that you're working on that you're really excited about?
Lo que nos emociona es la casa de bebés,
I think what we're most excited about is the children's home.
porque yo paso mucho tiempo en ese lugar
I spend a lot of time up there,
y a veces tengo que ir a la casa de los niños pequeños
and sometimes I have to go into the little children's home
para ir a hacer alguna pregunta o
go
a
and ask
hacer algo,
something or do something.
y todos los niños salen a abrazarme
All the little kids run out and hug me.
y cuesta salir de ahí
It's hard to get out of there.
después de abrazar a
After all,
todos.
you've hugged all the kids.
Y sabes cuando uno de ellos es nuevo,
You know when one of them is new,
porque está triste y
they're kind of
apartado
sad
en un
and off on
lugar,
their own.
pero después de unas semanas de estar
A
ahí,
couple weeks after they've been there,
se vuelven tan
they're
alegres
so happy.
y salen a
And they run
saludarte y
out to say hi to
abrazarte.
you and give you a hug.
Entonces puedes ver la diferencia
You can see the
de
difference
estar ahí.
that being there has made for them.
Cuando vienen algunos que han sido abandonados,
Some of
han
them have been
sido
abandoned,
maltratados
treated badly,
y se miran mal,
and they look bad.
pero unos días después están tan
But
contentos.
some days later, they just are so happy.
Entonces, a nosotros nos emociona cuando vemos que el gobierno manda a un niño ahí,
Exciting for us when we see that the government sends us a child.
porque sabemos de que algo pasa en sus
We
corazones,
know that something is going to happen in their hearts,
estando ahí en ese lugar del ministerio.
being in that place in the ministry.
Entonces, si ahora tenemos una casa más
We have a
grande,
bigger house.
solo pensamos, podemos recibir más
We'll be able to
niños
receive more kids.
y podemos tener a los más
We
grandecitos.
can have the older ones.
Y aquí en Guatemala,
Here in Guatemala,
las familias adoptan a los bebés,
families want to adopt the babies.
pero a los mayores
But
no
the
los,
older
no
kids,
los
They
quieren.
don't want them.
A los que ya han tenido problemas con la
They've
justicia
had problems already with the justice.
y pues ya ninguna familia los quiere
Nobody wants
adoptar.
to adopt them after that.
Entonces,
So-
ahora que estamos construyendo esta casa,
Now that we're making this house,
vamos a tener espacio para los más
we'll have room for the
grandecitos.
older kids.
Y pues eso nos emociona y
That excites
esperamos
us, and we
tener a niños
hope
mayores
to have older kids, and
y que el espacio sea
we
bonito
want it to be a nice place for
y
them,
que lo puedan
and they
disfrutar
can enjoy it,
y sobre todo
and above all
que
else,
su corazón sea
their
sanado,
heart can be healed,
que conozcan al
and they can know the
Señor
Lord,
y puedan llevar una vida
and that
feliz,
they can have a happy life,
una vida sana
a healthy life,
con la presencia de Dios en
with the
sus
presence
vidas.
of God in their lives.
That's awesome. And when do you expect the children's home, the two buildings, to be complete?
La casa hogar.
The children's house we're talking about still, right?
Yeah.
Queremos terminarla en enero.
We want to finish in January.
en enero ya tenemos paredes,
The walls are up, the
techo,
roof is on.
estamos trabajando
We're doing
ventanas,
the
el
windows right now, and the
piso,
floor.
están colocando la
They're
electricidad,
doing the electricity.
pero pensamos tenerla a finales de enero, tenerla terminada.
The end of January, we want to have it finished.
That's awesome. That's very exciting. So if anyone has any questions for Walter about construction, feel free to just write them in the chat. We're going to take a few minutes just to answer some more questions that you guys may have. And then as per always with these events, we always end the recording portion, and then we allow you guys to unmute yourself if you want to ask more questions, and we can just keep the conversation going. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to write them in the chat. I do have one other question. What do the children, what's their reaction when you're working at a school like this and kids are in classes every day and they're seeing all this construction being done? What's the reaction of the kids, or how are they excited? Are they wondering what's going on?
Pues sí, están contentos.
They're happy.
Por ejemplo, cuando hacemos el laboratorio de computación,
For example, when we were making the computer lab,
les cuentan, este va a ser el laboratorio de computación.
tell them this is going to be a
Aquí
computer
van a
lab.
aprender a usar
You're
computadoras.
going to learn how to use a computer here.
Y, por ejemplo, en Vida Nueva, ni uno de los niños tiene computadora en su casa.
Vida Nueva, none of the children have a computer in their home.
Y entonces están
And so
emocionados
they're excited.
de saber que el próximo
to know
año
that
van a
next year
tener computadoras.
They're going to have
Y ellos
computers.
las van a tocar, las van a
And
usar.
They're going to be able to, touch them and use them.
Y aquí en donde estamos en Chamché,
Here where we are in Chamche,
estamos haciendo la cocina y el comedor.
we're doing the kitchen and the dining hall.
Y para el próximo año vamos a tener clases presenciales
And next year in January, we'll have in-person classes,
y vamos a empezar a servir comida.
and we're going to serve food again.
Todo este año no estábamos dando comida en el colegio,
All this year, we weren't giving meals in the school.
solo daban las cosas a cada
They were
familia
just giving each family
para prepararlo en casa,
the items of food to make it at their own homes.
pero el próximo año va a haber un
Next
lugar
year,
acá
there will be a place here
para tener comida calientita
to have
cuando
hot food
lleguen,
when the
cuando
kids
lleguen al colegio.
arrive at school.
Entonces, necesitamos terminarlo durante este tiempo
We need to finish it during this time.
para que cuando comience
So
las
when
clases
classes
en
start
enero
in January,
ya haya un espacio para tener comida antes de comenzar las clases.
there's a place for them to have their food before school starts.
Entonces, están contentos, vamos a
They're
tener comedor y
happy. We're
cocina,
gonna have a
o vamos a
Kitchen,
tener lo que estemos haciendo.
whatever it is we're making,
Ellos se ponen muy contentos.
they're very happy.
There's a question here that says, do you know which projects may be started once some of the current projects are complete?
¿Cómo es?
¿Qué proyecto van a comenzar cuando todos esos terminen?
Yo pienso,
I think.
yo no soy el que
I'm not
decide,
the one who decides, but
pero yo pienso que vamos a tener que trabajar en Mocuán,
I think we're going to have to work in one.
porque tenemos muchos
We have
estudiantes
so many students there,
y ya no tenemos lugar en las
and we don't
aulas.
have enough room in the classrooms.
Entonces, yo pienso que vamos
I
a
think
tener
we're going to
que
have to do
hacer más aulas
more classrooms
en Mocuán.
in Macuan.
Los baños ya se han quedado
The
insuficientes.
bathrooms are not big enough for the number of students we have.
Entonces tengo la idea de que Mocuán sería el próximo lugar
I
para
think Macuan
trabajar.
is probably our next place to work.
Has there been a construction project that's been a challenge?
Bueno, lo más difícil
The most difficult thing
es cuando tienes que destruir las cosas primero
when you have to destroy stuff first
y después construir.
and then build.
Y eso nos pasa aquí en Chamché.
And that's what's happened here in Chamche.
Puedes poner la cámara, puedes poner la cámara allá en donde
¿Dónde
allá
está?
sí, a la parte de allá.
De donde están los nombres, creo yo.
Sí, donde está el muro.
You can see the wall there.
Eh,
Um,
te van a enseñar una parte de
I'm
un
gonna show you
muro.
a part of
Ahí
the
hay
wall
una
that's-
parte que, que se cayó durante la tormenta
Sí.
tropical
during the tropical storm, part of the wall fell over there.
y los trabajadores acababan de irse
The workers had just left
cuando se derrumbó una parte del muro
when part of the wall actually fell over.
y solo estábamos tan contentos
We were just so happy
de que ya se habían salido de la zanja.
they weren't in the trenches there when it fell.
Porque de lo contrario, varios de ellos hubieran quedado debajo.
Several of them would have been underneath if it had fallen a little earlier.
Entonces, trabajar acá en Chamché ha sido a veces
Working here in
muy
Chamché
complicado
Has been a little bit complicated sometimes.
porque estamos rodeados de vecinos,
We've got a lot of neighbors to the school.
tenemos muy poco espacio
We don't have a lot of space.
y además tenemos estudiantes en
And
medio.
Also, we often have students in the middle of us.
Entonces, todo tiene que ir muy despacio y con
Everything has to
cuidado.
be very slow and with lots of care.
Y eso es un reto para poder trabajar.
And that's probably what is like the hardest thing about working.
Sí.
How is the construction of the soccer fields coming? The bleachers.
Está terminado.
It's finished.
Está terminado. De hecho, los fines de
Actually,
semana
On the weekends,
la dieron alquilada para un campeonato.
they've been giving it out for use for a championship.
Entonces está en completo
It's
uso.
being used full time.
Sí, las gradas las están usando.
They're using the bleachers.
Y hicimos baños y
We made
vestidores
bathrooms, change
y
rooms,
todo eso está siendo
and it's
usado.
all being used.
Ujú.
That's very exciting. Very exciting. Well, if there's any last minute kind of questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. But just really quickly, just kind of want to talk about VidaLive going forward. So as we enter into a new year, we are going to shift a little bit to not having these monthly, but we'll have them every probably 3 months. So there'll be more of a quarterly and some more updates. So just stay tuned. I know that we'll be on social media. It'll come out through email. And just stay tuned for what's going to happen next year with our VidaLive event. And there is a question here, so I'll ask you guys this question, and then once we're done with this, we'll kind of wrap it up, and then you guys can unmute. So are the projects fully funded before you guys begin?
Todos los fondos antes de comenzar.
Pues, para serte sincero,
To be honest,
yo solo trabajo en la construcción.
I just work in the construction.
Si el director dice, trabaja ahí,
If the director says work there,
yo voy y lo hago.
I go and I do it.
Y compro materiales
And I buy stuff.
y pido los cheques de
And
la
I ask
oficina.
checks in the office.
Ya de tener los fondos,
If the
el
funds are
director
there,
se encarga.
It's
Yo
the field
no,
director who's in charge.
sí, yo solo sé
I only know
que tengo que hacer lo que él dice.
I need to do what he sends me to do.
That's awesome. Yeah, and we can find out some more information about that and send some more information and follow up for that question that came in. So again, just want to say thank you. Thank you, Walter. Thank you, Bruce, for just being a part of this event. For those who have joined us, feel free to stay on for a few more minutes and we'll just continue the conversation. And again, stay tuned. We will be having more VidaLive events, but just watch your emails and social media for that. And again, just thank you. And I just want to say thank you to the whole tech team. There is a huge team in Guatemala that is behind the scenes, that is working on the cameras and the mics, and they do such an excellent job. So I know we don't get to see them a lot, but we are so grateful because these could not happen without them. So again, thank you for being a part of this, and we will finish this recording part and then we will just let you guys unmute.